We're back now with major breaking news. Rudy Giuliani says President Trump repaid his fixer, Michael Cohen, $130,000 for that Stormy Daniels hush money payment. Joining me now is Congressman Mike Quigley. He's an Illinois Democrat who is a member of the Intelligence Committee. You're a lawyer as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I was a criminal defense attorney for a decade.
So this is an explosive interview with Rudy Giuliani, and he is President Trump's new attorney. What did you think of that when you heard it?
Yeah, I mean, I was on a different level than Rudy, but obviously he was a better prosecutor than a defense attorney. I never felt it was a good idea to talk about your clients or the cases on TV. Only bad things can happen, and tonight was a great example.
Let me read something, because he not only says that, and I just want to get your assessment of this. He was talking about the money. There's no campaign finance law. Rudy Giuliani says everybody was nervous about this from the very beginning. I wasn't. I knew how much money Donald Trump put into the campaign. I said $130,000. He's going to do a couple of checks for $130,000. When I heard Cohen's retainer of $35,000 when he was doing no work for the president, I said, that's how he's repaying. That's how he's repaying it, with a little profit and a little margin for paying taxes. What do you think?
Yeah, who needs investigative reporters when you have Rudy defending the President of the United States? I think it says something. It's extraordinarily important. It's additional evidence when the President of the United States gets in the same room with the truth, a fight breaks out. I hear in a previous discussion people talking about laying the groundwork for the President's decision to go speak before the special counsel. I don't think you give him that opportunity now. I think you subpoena the President of the United States. I think the case law is clear that he'll have to appear. And while that old case was a civil case, I think it's easy to argue that having the President, ensuring that the President helps with a criminal investigation is far more important than a civil trial that we were talking about before.
Okay, I want to get your reaction to another story, and I think it's a big story as well. It's from the New York Times tonight, and they report that a former federal law enforcement official familiar with the department's views said that Mr. Rosenstein and top FBI officials have come to suspect that some lawmakers were using their oversight authority to gain intelligence about the investigation, so that it could be shared with the White House. What's your reaction, and do you suspect the same thing?
My reaction is this line from Casablanca. Gambling at Rick's, I'm shocked. Here are your winnings. Look, I had a bird's eye view of the Republicans on the Intel Committee tanking the investigation, going along with a gag order by the White House, refusing to issue key subpoenas, the chairman's midnight ride, writing a memo about the investigation in concert with the White House. So this doesn't surprise me at all. It shouldn't surprise the American public. It's why we have to protect the special counsel from the President and his far-right friends on the committee.
All right, well, so that leads me to this next question. The President's attacks on the Justice Department. He says it is a rigged system, referring to the Justice Department, and at some point he's going to use the powers granted to the President and get involved. I mean, that sounds like a threat. Do you think the President is getting closer to firing Rosenstein or Mueller? And if he does, what will Congress do?
I think he's trying to do two things. And when he talks about getting involved with the Clinton email investigation, and he talks about what you just mentioned, it's two extremes, but it's the same thing. He wants to be able to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. And he wants to use it to muzzle those that would investigate the White House. This is an extreme violation of the rule of law. It takes a historical context to fully comprehend what's happening here, right? The king was restricted, that he wasn't above the law by the Magna Carta, right? Now, our founding fathers would not have imagined giving a president of the United States in the Constitution rights and abilities to be above the law when they were already extraordinarily concerned with the powers of the king and wanting to be independent of that king. So the President of the United States has turned American history and law on its head. We are facing a real constitutional crisis, and my friends on both sides of the aisle need to stand up, show some profiles and courage.
Congressman Mike Quigley joining us from Chicago. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The President's new lawyer, the former mayor of New York, also the state's attorney under the Southern District now, where Michael Cohen's case is, the former one, breaking some news, admitting that the president paid Michael Cohen back for the hush money to storm